Hello everyone, the election is finally over. We've got a lot to talk about, and my editor says I only have 15 minutes. So Government starts right now. Hello Raindrops, and welcome back to Government Minutes That Matter. This is Mr. A, joining you again for a post-election wrap-up and postscript to the 2024 election. What happened? Why did it happen? How did it happen? And we'll talk about all that and some partial results. They're not 100% final. As of Sunday the 10th at about 6:45 p.m. Central Time, these are still not 100% final numbers, but we'll talk about them. As always, this video is dedicated to the glory of God who blessed this land. So in case you've been under a rock for a while, we had the 2024 presidential election, 34 Senate elections, and every member of the House of Representatives elections, as well as numerous state and local races around the country. There is no time to get into all that, but we will talk about the presidency, the House, and the Senate. So let's start with the presidency. Obviously, it is an electoral vote. If you don't understand the electoral vote, the Electoral College, I've got a 3-part series on this channel about understanding the Electoral College. Check it out if you get a chance. So all the states have been called, okay? 100% of the totals are not in. 100% of the states have been called, and you need 270 electoral votes to win, and Donald Trump ended up with 312 electoral votes. Kamala Harris ended up with 226, so Donald Trump is the 47th and 45th President of the United States. He will take the oath of office on January 20th, 2025. As of right now, the time I told you, Donald Trump has 74.7 million votes. Kamala Harris has 71.1 million votes, 3,619,000 and some change votes in Donald Trump's favor, which is 50.4% of the popular vote to Kamala Harris's 48% of the popular vote. All right, so it was a much bigger win than almost anyone expected. Everyone, based on polling, said it was going to be like neck and neck, maybe even tied up in the Electoral College. Didn't happen. The American people came out in huge numbers and basically told Kamala Harris and the Democrats, we don't want this anymore. And so we're going to talk about some key dates and tipping points of this whole election here in just a second. But before that, let's talk about the Senate of the United States. Right now, with one race still out, that's Arizona. It is Sunday, and the election was Tuesday. There are third world countries who count quicker than this. Anyway, right now, with one vote, with one state out, that is Arizona, the Republicans have 53 seats in the Senate. The Democrats have 46. That means the Republicans picked up 4 from this last Congress, this last Senate session, and will control the Senate of the United States. In the House of Representatives, you need 218 seats to control the House of Representatives. Right now, there are 19 seats out. Currently, the Republicans hold 213 to 203 advantage. That means the Republicans have picked up 2 so far, but again, there are 19 out. Republicans must win 5 of the 19 to maintain control of the House. If this ends up this way, the Republicans will control the presidency, the House, and the Senate, and so look for a lot of things to get done if this happens, all right? So what happened and how did we get here? Back the day before the election, the day before, on November 4th, the day before, the Real Clear Politics average polling, okay, for popular vote was Donald Trump 48.6%, Kamala Harris 48.7%. 0.1% difference, basically a tie. And so, we ended up with Donald Trump winning by about 2%, 2.5%, somewhere in that area. So I believe there are several events that happened that kind of turned this or kind of impacted this race big time. So on May 30th of this year, Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts in a New York court. At that point, he had a 0.9% lead in the Real Clear Politics average in polling, and he was convicted. The conventional wisdom was that he was going to go down in the polls. He was now a convicted felon, and his candidacy was going to go off the rails. The opposite happened. He gained more support. I think the American people saw that the vast majority, if not all, I'm not a legal expert, but the vast majority, if not all, of the charges were politically motivated and trying to get rid of a political opponent, not through the democratic process, but through lawfare. All right, so on June 27th, Trump and Biden debated, a disaster for Joe Biden. President Biden did not look well. He did not look like he was on his game. He did not look like he knew exactly what was going on with every question. At that point, President Trump had a 1.5% lead in the average polling. On July 13th, the assassination attempt on President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, that again drew attention to the race and the fact of everything that Donald Trump has been going through, indictments and trials and all sorts of different things, and now an assassination attempt. At that point, President Trump had a 2.9% lead in polling. On July 15th, Trump picked J.D. Vance, senator from Ohio, as his running mate. At that point, he had a 2.7% lead in the polls. July 19th, Trump's RNC speech, Republican National Convention speech, 3.1% lead in the polls. He's starting to break away a little bit. He's starting to pull away, and Joe Biden is seen as doddering and old and not with it. On July 21st, Joe Biden withdrew from the race. The general consensus is he was forced out by his party. At that point, President Trump had a 3.1% lead. August 5th through October 25th, August 5th through October 25th, Kamala Harris got and maintained a lead in the polls. There was a lot of excitement, Joe Biden was now gone. Kamala Harris was younger, and she was with it, and she knew what day it was, and she knew who she was, and all this kind of stuff. Now, Kamala Harris didn't say much, but the fact that she was not Joe Biden was a lot of excitement on the Democrat side. So between that time, August 5th and October 25th, she jumped out to a 0.1 to 2.2% lead in the average polling. On September 10th, Trump versus Harris debate. I gotta say, Kamala Harris did not lose any ground. She didn't say much. She talked in a lot of platitudes, but she did. The expectations were so low of her that she came out looking good in this debate. So she ended up with a 1.1% lead at that point. October 7th from October 7th until the end of the election season, Harris began her media tour. She started talking to reporters in different places, and Fox News was one, The View was another, and she started doing more interviews because she had done none before that, and the more people saw of her, the less they liked. At this point, she had a 2% lead in the Real Clear Politics average polling. I hope this shine from the top of my head isn't bothering you. All right, October 17th, Kamala Harris skipped the Al Smith charity dinner in New York. It's put on by the Archdiocese of New York for charity, and people pay a lot of money to go there, and the presidential candidates since 1984 go and make fun of themselves and each other, and it's for a good cause, for Catholic Charities up in New York, and she skipped the dinner. There are some theories out there that possibly that cost her some Catholic votes. October 20th, Trump works at McDonald's, drive-through window fries and handing out food to people with an apron on. Looked pretty funny. Drew a lot of attention to the fact that he said that Kamala never worked at McDonald's, even though she said she did. At this point, she had a 0.9% lead in the polls. Starting on October 26th through November 4th, Donald Trump takes the lead in the RCP, the Real Clear Politics average, from 0.1 to 0.4%. October 30th, Biden calls Trump supporters garbage. Trump had a 0.4% lead. The next day, Trump showed up in a Trump garbage truck wearing a reflective vest to draw attention to Joe Biden, calling his supporters garbage, just like Hillary Clinton called them deplorables back in 2016. All right, at this point, he had a 0.3% lead. The day before the election, Kamala Harris had a 0.1% lead in the polls. So let's talk about results. We talked about the overall results. Let's talk about some specific results to different groups. Men under 30 went for Trump by 18 points. After winning seniors by 7 and 5 in 2016 and 2020, Trump lost by 1 point for seniors. After all this time, from mid-July when Kamala Harris became the nominee to mid-October, she raised more than $1 billion. That's with a B, $billion. From mid-July until Election Day, Harris and affiliated entities spent more than $654 billion on advertising. Trump only spent $378 million. Mid-October, the Harris campaign spent over $880 million. Trump spent only $354 million. Okay, maybe it's not advertising, maybe it's the message or the messenger or both. Okay, Harris spent $56.6 million on payroll and payroll taxes. Trump only spent $9 million on payroll and payroll taxes. So who is the better business person and more efficient? So Harris didn't lose for lack of money or that the country is racist or misogynist. Harris lost because of what the American people told pollsters consistently was what was most important to them. According to Gallup, here are the top 10 issues voters said were extremely or very important to them. The economy, democracy in the United States, education, terrorism and national security, Supreme Court picks, healthcare, this next one was a tie, gun policy, and crime, and taxes, then a tie, immigration, and foreign policy. And finally, the deficit. All right, so those were the top 10, there was a couple ties, things that Americans said were most important to them, very important or most important to them. According to Gallup, here are the bottom 5 issues voters ranked as not important. Number 1 was a tie between abortion and wealth and income distribution in the United States. Number 2 was relations with Russia. These are the least important to Americans. Number 3 was race relations. Number 4 was climate change. And number 5 was transgender rights. Those bottom 5 sounded like the Democratic platform. All right? The Democrats were stressing the things Americans didn't care about and ignoring the things they did care about. This goes a long way to explain why the Republicans did so well and Harris and the Democrats lost big time. Harris underperformed Biden in 48 states. Donald Trump won all 7 swing states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Donald Trump swept these swing states. He won every single one of them. Trump won Latino men by 10. Clinton won Latino women by only 24 points. Hillary Clinton won it by 44. Fox News says 24% of black men voted for Trump. Biden won it by 60 and Clinton by 69% back in 2016. According to CNN, Trump's share of white men fell from plus 31% in 2016, plus 23% in 2020, down to plus 5%. I guess that was a very racist appeal Donald Trump had. Trump received 60% of the Catholic vote compared to 47% in 2020. The Democrats' fascination and obsession with abortion is costing them big time with Catholics. According to NBC, the only age group that Trump won, Gen X, he won by 8 points, but this group was the largest portion of the electorate, which was 35%. Of all age groups, this was the biggest portion of the electorate, 35%. Biden won 18 to 29-year-olds by 24 points, Harris only by 13. So she did not do well with young, she did not do well with very many groups, and so that's what caused her to lose. Now, I want to call out especially call out these people and tell them no one cares what you think. No one listens to you. So shut your pie hole, do your singing, dancing, whatever you do, just leave us alone. Stop trying to lecture us. This goes to the women of The View, especially Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar. This also goes to Robert De Niro, Taylor Swift, John Legend, Alec Baldwin, Rob Reiner, Barbra Streisand, Megan Rapinoe, Lady Gaga, Mark Ruffalo, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, George Clooney, Oprah, Travis Kelce, Eminem, P. Diddy, well, I guess you probably didn't vote, Sean Penn, Ashley Judd, Mindy Kaling, Cardi B, George Lopez, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. I hope all of you understand how no one cares what you think. So this video is dedicated to you, the glorious results of the 2024 presidential election. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Mr. A reminding you that we, the people, are the government. Hope you paid attention. There will be a test at the next election in 2 years. We'll see you next time.